I'm Myke Shrews.
And I'm Tivis.
And you're listening to
The Munster Cast.
Episode 30. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the MUNSTERCAST, the podcast where we watch and talk about the Munsters. And Tivis, I have to ask, could you even hear the intro today?
It was real quiet, and then it blew my eardrums out.
Okay, cool, awesome. With that said, guys, real quick, let's do some dirty work. If you want to, you can follow the MUNSTERCAST on all social media platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at the MUNSTERCAST. And on YouTube, you just get to see our pretty little faces, plus extra content that we don't actually release on the podcast platform. So there's a bonus to that, actually, for once. Other than that, you can also email us at themunstercast@outlook.com, and there you can email us your Munster stories, questions, concerns, ideas, review of our show, anything you want, as long as it's Munster related or this podcast related. I can't help you if it's like some, I'm not a marriage counselor. Don't send me that stuff. So with that said, I will put it over to you, Tivis. Do you got anything before we start, man?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. So apparently, because the new movie's coming out, Peacock is moving the Munsters from their available to watch without a paid subscription, which you can do with Peacock,
right?
To you need a subscription to watch it, which is kind of lame. I mean, I get it. It's a business move. They think it'll generate interest, and then they can get money out of people, which I think is the reverse of what they should do. That should make it more available to people, because they will be wanting to watch it, and then they could have more people interested for them to make more. But I'm not a businessman, so what do I know?
They're just trying to hit on, because the trailer dropped and everything. They're hoping the nostalgia factor will kick in and everything. Like, for the people who aren't constantly watching already, that trailer is going to spark interest in, what's the Munsters? Especially for people who don't know the Munsters, or just remember seeing like an episode here or there, or a reference or something throughout pop culture and shit.
I've been seeing a lot of talk online because of this trailer. One of the comments that hit hardest was, who under 30 even knows who the Munsters is? And I almost argued until I remember I was 31.
Well, my kids know.
But a lot of
I have brothers that are under 30 that know what the Munsters are. They actually listen to this podcast. Shout out.
Oh, hi. So, one of them, Kenny?
Kenny and Connor.
Awesome.
Yep. I think
Connor?
Under 30 still. I don't remember. He might be an old man now.
I like Kenny. But what's that?
I was going to say, we saw that. And then I instantly, because I commented to someone on Twitter about it. So I instantly went to like Amazon. So I got the price right. Amazon put their price up on the box set too for the Munsters. The one that we have, it's like $30 some now instead of we paid $10, right? Yeah. And then it went up to 19.
Yeah, it was on sale when we bought it, so it wasn't regular price, but we still got it pretty cheap.
Normally 19. I know Walmart sells it for 19. Not an ad, not a sponsor.
Yeah, but that was Modern Maryland Munster, who is very, very. They chat with us often on Twitter, so I'm going to give them a shout out. Go ahead and give them a follow if you want.
Yeah. But I just wanted to let people know who don't want to pay for the premium service or premier service, whatever the hell it's called. you can walk out to your local Walmart and just pick one up for $20 right now before they jack those prices up too, you know. And like a year after the movie comes out, if it does well, they're going to jack the prices up on all the box sets of the older stuff.
Mm. Yeah, very true. You might want to get it now. Another person I'm going to shout out is Mark Doyle, who shared a news clip with us of the collection they and I would love an update to that. Yeah, it's extensive, and they were only missing a couple things at that time of recording. So
yeah, that was a pretty impressive collection, Mark. I enjoyed watching that clip too. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Other than any of that stuff, I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Well, well, you got something. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Say there has been quite a bit of, like you said, talk about the new trailer and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go back to.
And bringing up the Munsters and stuff. And like one of the saddest things I've seen is like how many people who are like Munster fans are like trying to just put this down before they even actually see anything of it.
Yeah.
Like, well, we saw what we saw of it. But then there's people out there just like, oh, this just looks like a spoof of it. I'm like, clearly you've never seen any of the other movies and stuff before.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to get at. Specifically, a lot of people are pointing out Jeff, who, you know, we've only seen a couple seconds of. We don't even have any dialogue or really any actual scenes of him as Herman other than just sitting on the couch and busting through the door.
Honestly, too, I think that what we saw in the teaser was literally shot for the teaser. I don't think that's part of, unless
I don't know. I think the couch might be part of the movie. I think you might be onto something with the kids leaving the nest.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Everyone what's back and forth. Everyone's like, oh, it's a prequel. It's a sequel. What is it? I was like,
I cannot wait for this trailer to find out what is going on in this movie. But regardless, like, I said this episodes ago when I met Jeff, is he's not there to do a Fred Gwynn impression. Yeah. And anyone Fred Gwynn set the bar so high for Herman because he was so like likable and like charismatic, and his facial features are one of a kind that all of the cast for that matter have pretty much set that bar so high. Every cast that has followed since has had a real hard time achieving that. So if you go in wanting to see Fred Gwynn, Al Lewis, Yvonne, you're going to be disappointed. Like, you have to look at this from this is this version of the show. It is not the same, and it won't be the same. They will make it similar to where, if you like the old show, you may like this. There's no guarantee in life, but just have an open mind, basically, is all I'm saying. Give it a chance, especially since we've seen so little of it. And, to the people complaining about being in color, I don't understand that. I can empathize. And
the same people who never watched the other Munster movies.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, over half of the Munsters content out there is in color. My memories of it are in color.
There's more than half. All the Munster content besides these first two seasons that I can recall are in color.
I think a couple of the movies with the original cast are in black and white as well.
Or one of them was in color.
There's a good chance. Yeah. Cause what is there, like two or three?
There's two of them with,
and then I think the first one was black and white. We'll see when we get to it, but
there's plenty there, but there's one actor who has, for me anyways, I felt that he came the closest to how Fred was. And it was, what's that guy's name? It's literally Herman is in his name. I don't remember now.
Which one was he?
It was
Edward Herman.
Edward Herman, yeah.
Yeah, here comes the Munsters.
Yeah, here comes the Munsters. He seemed to, from what I remember of his performance, again, we'll see when we get there, but what I remember, he seemed the closest of any of the Hermans to get to Fred's.
I can't disagree with that because this movie stuck in my mind so vividly. I honestly thought the show was in color when we first started this. You remember that? I was confusing. Yeah. So
the show and the movies.
Yeah. And I love that 90. It was what sparked my interest. And, he may not be, Fred, but he gives a hell of a performance.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good actor. He played Richie Rich's dad.
Yeah.
The Macaulay Culkin Richie Rich movie. So yeah. Anyways, I'm satisfied seeing the love that's coming out for the Munsters just from that little teaser drop. But I'm also kind of like put down by so many people just like, oh, it's gonna be shit. It's this, it's that. We get that with almost every movie. But at this point, I'm just like, you literally saw like 50 seconds.
Yeah.
Something that's most likely not, in my mind, it's most likely not going to be in the movie. You don't even know what the movie's about.
It's a modern problem where people's mindset is it's new and it's different, so it can't be as good. And that's a possibility. That's always a possibility. But you need to give stuff a chance, at least, You'd
hope. I don't know.
I've been worried about this movie being made by Rob Zombie because, I don't enjoy many of his work or any of it for that matter. I was still excited to give it a chance.
I don't think you've seen his stuff though, right?
I've seen a few and that's enough. I don't like horror.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's just a genre taste then. So,
yeah.
So let's dive into this one, then. Do you got anything else before we dive in?
No, that's all.
So these two episodes, these were fun.
I know. I was so hard not to say anything this week.
The second one we're going to talk about, I've seen that one before, so I was waiting.
I was super excited. Super excited to get to that. I'm like, I saw the title and I'm like, oh, I almost text you. I'm like, it's here. All right, so let's get into this first one. Herman Picks a Winner, season 2, episode 16, January 6th, 1966. We are now in the 66s. Written by Dick Conway with Norm Liebman and Haas involved, of course, as always. Ezra Stone is directing again. Guests this week, short guest list, but got some memorable ones on here. We got Sammy Shore as Vic, Charlie Callis as Lefty, who has quite a few notable things on here. He played Malcolm Argos in Switch, which ran from 75 to 78. He was a major role in that. You just picked this up, Legends of the Superheroes. He was Sinestro.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he also played Dracula in Hysterical, which I made note of because, Munsters. And we got...
So it works with the show.
Yeah. Joe Hernandez as the announcer, who retired from announcing 2 shows after this in 1969. His whole career was basically doing announcer role in so many things. Joyce Jameson as Lou. She played Miss Valentine in Dance With Me, Herman. So she's a returning guest. We got finally we got Barton McLain as Big Roy. He played Martin Peterson in I Dream of Jeannie. And he wrote the screenplay for the 1943 drama Man of Courage, which I thought was cool, so I included it.
Okay. And that's it?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, synopsis time. Herman Picks a Winner, January 6th, 1966, as Tivis previously stated. Trying to teach Eddie about the folly of gambling, Herman bets the money in Eddie's piggy bank on a long shot. When the horse comes in a winner, it ruins Herman's lesson and entangles him in organized crime.
Dun, dun. before we get into this, I would like to get people's opinions on this one. Who do you think was more right, Herman or Grandpa in this? So we open with Lily yelling at Eddie with Herman next to her at the bottom of the stairs. Eddie's refusing to come down to discuss why he was sent home from school and then runs to their secret door behind the suit of armor, which I believe, what?
You can't go past the whole thing. I'm going to get it, and I don't want to get it. He said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was a great scene. Eddie knows he's in trouble, and he's refusing to get punished.
I honestly thought we were going to get a spanking scene in this episode.
Yeah. Didn't we learn in the audio that the suit of armor tunnel goes to his room?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that's where he was going at first. Herman chases him into it, and he comes running out of that and goes to try to hide in the wardrobe, which Herman is waiting in. Last time we saw this was episode 1 when he was running from the neighbor. Remember that?
Yeah.
What a callback. Oh, I love continuity. So Lily comes up and meets them. She's like, why don't you tell your father why you were sent home from school? And I'm like, wait, weren't you just yelling at Eddie to find out why?
Right.
So Eddie says he was gambling. Herman is extremely disappointed, even though Eddie won some money. Herman tells him he's going to teach Eddie a lesson he will never forget. Something.
Funny thing is, this kid is a smart ass like my kids.
Oh yeah. He's
like Herman is like, there's nothing to gain from it, and he's like, I won 30 cents. I gained 30 cents. What are you talking about, Pop?
And then as he goes, he's like, well, I'm going to teach you something that will make you never want to gamble again. You want to bet? It's like he begins to say like, I got to bet you a quarter. And Lily recognizes the trap Herman is falling in and grabs Eddie and sends it to his room.
Herman was like, I'll give you 15 to something odds or some crap like that.
Yeah. So as she's leading him away, Herman's still sitting in the wardrobe, contemplating what just went down.
Mm.
So that was a great scene. So now we have we're in the living room where Herman sets Eddie's favorite piggy bank that he raised from an egg on the table and smashes it with an axe.
Cool looking piggy bank too, by the way.
It was, and Grandpa's not happy with this either. He's like, he was saving for his own scorpion. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, Herman plans to use Eddie's money to bet on a horse. Lily's not too sure about this plan either, and Grandpa is extremely confused. So Herman's like, I'm going to go to the dry cleaners because that's where all gambling is, apparently, when it's illegal.
Yeah.
And he's like, he begins looking for a horse that's the less likely to win.
The worst one.
Mm-hmm. So he finds one. Bluebell is its name. Hey, Grandpa's like, why don't you let your wife pick it since she picked you?
Yeah, she picked a loser already. Let her pick another one.
That was a great little jab.
Oh shit.
So now we cut to the dry cleaners and the secret bookies in the back hear the bell ring. Wing? What the? So they look through their little peephole at the front desk and they're absolutely bewildered by Herman. He's like, hey, come over here and look at this.
Then they start to like, he must be the muscle for this other gang or something.
Yeah. So the two of them go out to check Herman out. And, he's like, he greets them pleasantly. He's like, hey, so I brought my pants in, and also I want to put some money down on a horse. I just brought my pants because I think it's awfully nice of you guys to be running this gambling ring for me, and I wanted to give you some business.
Yeah.
But when he tells them that he wants Bluebell, they laugh hysterically. And just take his money. Basically, they're like easy profits right here. So now we cut back to home where they're listening to the race on the radio. Bluebell is in last place, like hasn't even left the starting gate yet. Halfway through the race, and Eddie is so unhappy by this, and like pretty much the entire race he's losing. Herman is laughing and clapping. He's all excited until Bluebell takes the lead. Herman yells at the radio that what kind of rotten lesson is this? Are they teaching his son? And Grandpa congratulates Eddie for turning $10 into $300. Herman says, no. I'm going to do what every gambling addict does. Ride this high and bet again.
So he takes his 300 and then he puts it on another horse. Really bad horse, supposedly.
Yeah. And there's a real big lesson here. We know already, like father, like son with these two.
Yeah.
Herman must have a little bit of a gambling problem himself.
Well, I don't really think so. I think the whole point is Herman wanted Eddie to lose.
Yeah, I know. But the way this keeps going, it's so Herman comes home from work and Eddie and Grandpa like come down the stairs all excited and tell, we won again. And Grandpa's like, you must have like $14,000 already. Herman, shocked by this, passes out and breaks their table. And then we get a nice shot of the bookies who are like, we owe this guy $14,364. Which
is a lot of money then, because we've already established $5,000 back then.
Oh yeah. What is it? I got the conversion here. It is $129,584.56. That is a ton of money. But yeah, the bookies are like, we can't afford to pay him. And one of them's like, well, why don't we pack up and leave? Which is something that's happened to the Munsters before. And the other one's like, no. This guy must have inside information, which, what?
You can't have inside. Well, yeah.
Unless these are rigged, which I think he must be insinuating, but otherwise, like, how could you, what are you talking to the horses? Like, which one of you feels the most energetic today?
The Dr. Doolittle thing. Like, hey, slow down last minute so he can get in front of him. Yeah. You get the best hay tonight.
And he's like, well, what if we have him pick our winners instead? They're like, well, how are you going to convince him? We're going to call Lou. Cut to some woman, sitting on her couch as the phone rings with the older bookie.
Yep.
And she answers, sure. What's he look like? Tall, dark green. Looks like a what? She's like, it's going to cost you a little extra, but I'll do it.
Yeah. It's like, next time you guys better take care of me really well.
Yeah. So Herman's leaving work and Lou is having car trouble. She can't start her car.
In car trouble, you mean she can't turn the key all the way?
Yeah, I was going to get to that. But yeah, Herman comes walking out of work, sees her in distress and offers to help. She's like, I can't start my car. So he gets in, looks at everything, turns the key and the car starts. He's super proud of himself. The mechanic right there, which, I mean, he did convert his car into a dragster. So
how the hell did he fit in that car?
Yeah. Yeah.
How he fit in her car, dude. They must have had his boots stilt things off when he got in there, because you don't see his feet the whole time. So
possibly
easier. Because that seat was set up for her. And I don't think that seat really moved anyways.
Now in my notes, I have this sentence here where they need to stop saying daddy. because she says it repeatedly where she's like, I can't, Daddy's going to be angry with me. Oh, can you come with me to come home so I'm not in trouble with Daddy?
And then when you start to think about more, you're like, all right, wait, is this like her? Is she playing that as her daddy, or does that?
I don't know when that slang term started, but it made me uncomfortable regardless with this. Herman's like, no, I need to go home. I have stuff I have to do. And she begins crying horribly. And he's like, all right, fine. All right, whatever.
I'll drive you.
Yeah.
But doesn't he have a car there too, though? So
yeah, so he's got to go get his car.
Back to get his car.
Back at the Munster Manor, which is not an official term. It's just what I like to call it. I don't want to confuse people in case, it actually has a name that I'm not aware of. Lily, she's concerned because Herman is always home at 5:13 sharp, except for when he gets distracted, which is like every other episode. Yeah. She doesn't say this. We know. It's been like 53 episodes. We know. So Grandpa says, she starts wondering, well, what if someone robbed him after he picked up his winnings? And Grandpa's like, oh, if that happens, I'm going to feel awful. She immediately gets a suspicious look. Why?
What did you do now, old?
Yeah. Grandpa reveals he's been rigging the races with magic. He wanted to teach Herman a lesson for making a big deal out of everything. The first time Grandpa's magic works like super easily without any issues, too. What the hell? He's like, he could have just had a nice, easy talk with Eddie, but instead he blew it out of proportion and got everyone from Uncle involved, which I got to say, at this point, siding with Grandpa this time. Agreed on the lesson part. Thought he went about it the worst possible way. What about you?
I don't know. Like, I understand where Grandpa was coming from when he's like, he just blew that proportion.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, did he really? I don't know.
Yeah.
I taught some lessons as a child that I'm not going to say on the internet in certain ways because it could get people in trouble. But I don't know.
Well, that's ominous.
I know, right? I just don't think that he didn't handle it in an extreme way. I thought that he just, he should have just taken Eddie's winnings, his 30 cents though, and done something with that.
All right, this is interesting that you're on the opposite side of this. I once again ask our listeners, let us know what side you're on. I'm real curious with this one. But getting back to the show, Lily asks if Herman you don't think Herman could pick a winner himself? And Grandpa responds, he couldn't pick a jackrabbit out of a herd of turtles. She gets a far off look on her face and yeah, nods. You're right. And here's where I'm going to do it because I had to hear it. At Daddy's place, the two of them walk in and begin explaining to Daddy.
Okay, stop saying Daddy.
I will not, because I had to hear it a million times this episode.
Wife start calling you Daddy.
No, absolutely not. That's creepy as whatever you're into, but for me, that's weird. So
start calling Tivis Daddy just to mess with him.
So Daddy turns out to be the older bookie that called her, and he's trying to get Herman to drink with him. Herman's like, no, I got to get home and stuff. He's like, but I wouldn't say no to a hot fudge sundae. The bookie is, what? So back at home, Lily's getting off the phone with Mr. Gateman. She's like, if you hear anything from him, let me know. Marilyn's like real concerned now as well. And she goes, Well, he left work on time, and they're sitting there thinking, Grandpa's Gonzo the clown. He's at the appearing at the supermarket. He's like, no. He saw him last week.
Yeah.
Man, I really hope nothing terrible happened to him. Cut to Herman stirring a drink as this creepy lady is way too close to his face. Like personal space.
She wants another daddy.
No, I don't like anyone talking that close to my face. Get back. You got spittle. Everyone's got spittle. Back off.
Pre-COVID days, they didn't care.
Yeah, this was before COVID that I hated this. So, especially when people, I've only had 2 people ever do this, but when they get real close to talking your ear I will punch you. Get back.
I'm gonna have your wife do that and see what you do.
No, I hate it. It's so bad. You hear every
say, hey, go up to Tivis when he's not paying attention and just be like, daddy, right in his ear.
Oh, I hate you. I hate this. I almost said I hate this episode, but I don't. So yeah. She's talking way too close to his face as he's finishing his 4th hot fudge sundae.
Yeah.
He's like, this one was particularly good with the pecans. So
better than all 3 or better than the other 3.
Yeah. So he's like, it's supper time. I'm very gracious for you, folks for, accepting him basically is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Before, he tries to leave. He's like, wait, before you go, this is the bookie talking. I have daddy written, but I'll stop because I want Myke to stop.
Okay, daddy.
I hate you. So before he leaves, he's like, hey, I hear you're on a hot streak, how? But could you pick a horse for me? He's like, oh, I couldn't possibly do that. He goes, no, please. Like, okay. So he puts the paper down. Eeny, meeny, miny, Herman once again tries to leave, and the bookie's like, no. Why don't you stay? And he's like, no, we're having shoe fly pie tonight, and I don't want to miss all the flies. Plus, I got to pick up my winnings still. And the bookie's like, well, what if I don't let you leave? And at this point, I have good luck, buddy. This guy busts his own front door down every other day on accident. If you try to hold him, you're going to be paying so much repair fees. So, as he's like what if you don't let me leave? And he's like slowly backing up to the front door. Who are you texting?
Nobody.
So he bumps into the 2 other bookies who he met in the dry cleaners. They're standing guard near the front door, and he's excited to see these guys. He's like, oh, hey, can I get my money? Oh yeah. They pull their guns out on him. And the older bookie, big, what's his name? Big Roy
guy, the main lead, the leader. He's not really. He's like the main.
Yeah, Big Roy, I believe is his name. They don't really say it a whole lot in this episode, so it's hard to tell. That's why I have so many problems with a lot of these guest actors, is they don't say their names enough. I have enough trouble remembering actual people I live next to's names, and I've heard it at least 3 times. They're like, I'm betting 50,000 on Royal Flush that you picked.
Yeah,
I'm keeping you as insurance so you don't try to rig it against me. Because if I don't win, you're going to be wearing a cement overcoat. And Herman's, that sounds kind of heavy for winter, don't you think? He's just heavy enough to sink you to the bottom of the river.
Love to see a cement overcoat, like an action. Like I was being stupid when I watched this. I was literally picturing a coat made of cement when I knew what they were talking about, like cement boots and shit like that, Like, I would just picture Herman wearing a coat made out of cement. would be funny as hell. Now who are you texting?
No, I just saw a notification, so I had to make sure you weren't planning some stuff. So we cut to Herman being gagged, and I'm like, how are they keeping him? And then I see they have heavy duty chains around him, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, okay, that makes sense. But we know he can get out of this because we saw him do it with the Russians.
And he got out of the thing in the Thanksgiving episode, the stretcher machine too.
Yeah, the table.
Yeah.
The stretcher machine. So Lily's like, I'm calling the police. Enough is enough. He's been gone long enough. And Grandpa's like, no. Just wait. I'm working on 2 brilliant ideas down in the lab. At that house, an explosion rocks the house. He's like, he looks at her. I'll work on the other one then. Which, what are his 2 plans? Because what ends up happening, I guarantee, was not one of those plans, because there's no way he knew.
I don't know how he knew how to. Yeah,
we'll get to that.
Whole ending, I'm just like confused.
Yeah. So Herman, still tied up somehow. I'm surprised he hasn't escaped. Is being forced to listen to the radio as Royal Flush is winning, and he's extremely happy by this. And then the horse starts falling behind and eventually loses. And he's like, no. So he breaks his gag, kicks the radio, makes the chair fall over, and the chairs finally break.
He doesn't break his gag. He eats his gag. He bites through it.
Well, it breaks, does it not?
No. Nope. It does not break.
Are you saying that a cloth that rips is not broken?
Nope. No, sorry, Daddy. It's not.
It's going to be one of those Wednesdays, isn't it?
All right. Yeah. Go on. Yeah. He breaks. He gets out of the gag. I don't even know if he breaks the chains or if the chair just breaks.
I'm pretty sure he busts out of the chains after he falls, but he runs to the front door. They got some great old fashion, silent film kind of chase music playing. And I really enjoyed that. He opens the door. It sees one of the bookies outside reading a paper, closes again. And there's a little goof right here. I don't know if you noticed, but as he goes to close the door, you can see someone's hand reach for the door to try and help Fred from the production crew.
Yeah. And
realizing he doesn't need help, you see the hand go away. It's just a neat little thing that I barely caught it.
Yeah.
Because I was more concerned with him.
Later too, when we're outside.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
That one was more prominent. So he then runs out to the balcony and looks down, realizing how far up he is. And he's like, well, can't jump. So at that point,
with the guns.
Yeah. At that point, the 3 bookies come in and they're like, hey, he escaped. He's on the patio. So they go to chase him and he's, screw it, I'm jumping off. He goes over the edge and he grabs onto it must have been a flagpole or something.
It looked like one of those ginormous clothing poles that you put in cars and shit, or in a closet that pins between the wall from the pressure poles. You know, don't look at me like I'm a dumbass. I know.
I'm just thinking of a GIF that I'm going to make later now.
Who is this?
It had to be a flagpole. That's what I'm guessing.
A random ass AC just right there.
Yeah. That's what I'm like. Is that an AC? No, it's got to be an electrical box of some kind.
I would hope it's not an AC because, yeah.
But yeah, they get up there and they start firing their guns downward at him. There are people on the street. Do you not think this is going to get you noticed for illegal gambling?
Yeah.
Where am I? So then a bat flies up and I'm like, oh, hey, it's Igor. He located Herman for Grandpa. No, it is Grandpa.
Mm.
And he brought a anti-gravity pill, which has to be an invention that he had ready, because this is a very specific situation that Grandpa could not have predicted while Herman is missing. I'm sorry. I don't believe it.
I don't understand how that even came about. I don't understand how Grandpa even knew where Herman was.
A crystal ball is my guess.
Just doing it. Why did he use that in the first place? Just to find him.
He doesn't use it a lot. I think it's just because he's an ass.
He could have found him when Herman was still like 2 milkshakes in.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. There's a good chance that Grandpa knows what's going on and just
didn't care.
Makes the situation worse for his own entertainment value.
Maybe.
But yeah, so Herman's like, well, what are we going to do about the guys with the guns? And Grandpa's like, leave it to me, and flies off.
Yeah.
So the bookies stop firing as a bat lands on one of their guns. And he's like freaking out. His eyes are wide. He's like, there's a bat on my gun. And one of the dudes is like, I'm going to get a stick to kill it with. And the other one's like, just shoot it. And Grandpa's like, oh, out of here. And during these scenes, you can see the stick they use for the bat, like pretty clearly in the top corner of the screen.
Yeah.
Like they were, that was a big accident right there, but whatever.
I watched this episode when everybody was still around last night. My wife just sat down in the living room and was watching this part with me.
Yeah.
Nothing but criticism. She's like, oh, you can see the wire on the bat. Oh, you can see the stilts in his shoes. I'm like, babe, shut up. I'm like, of course you can. It's from the 60s. What do you want from them?
And it's a pretty bright scene, brighter than we're used to with this show. So they weren't able to hide as much as they normally do.
Yeah. I was just like, of course you can see this. I know you can see the string with the bat. I'm not dumb. Like, it doesn't mean I can't, pretend I'm not seeing it so I can stay entertained by the show.
Yeah. It's just, they're normally a lot more careful with this stuff. It's just so.
When they're in the house, it's a darker background, so you can find the darker wires a little easier. Very rarely do we see things flying outside of the house.
Yes.
Except
other than that time Grandpa got captured by which, by the way, he was a much bigger bat then. This is clearly the Igor bat they're recycling.
Yeah.
Maybe they lost their prop from that episode. Herman begins just walking down the building. The bookies are so confused by this. There's people I'm
confused by this. Anti-gravity pill means like he shouldn't be able to do any of that, right? Like at this point, I'm just like, as you have like magnetic boots that are hitting the beams on the inside of the building to keep it doesn't float away.
He's Batman walking down the side of this building for reference.
Batman 66 people.
Yeah, the only rules we were given was you're guaranteed not to fall.
Yeah, true. And how long does this last? Is this like a forever thing? Oh, Grandpa.
Maybe Herman can sleep upside down on the ceiling with Grandpa now. Herman is a guinea pig for so many things. I wouldn't be so shocked if Grandpa engineered the situation specifically to test this.
I'm starting to think maybe Grandpa knows the future too, so he can just plan.
Yeah.
Or he has like a magical diary somewhere where he's writing down, this is how these events happen.
I saw some people were, comparing Grandpa, Al Lewis's look to current political figure. And people are like, oh, don't sully Grandpa's name like that. I'm like, no. Watch this show. Grandpa is a bad person.
Yeah, but he's still not, I don't think.
I know. I'm just saying, anyone who thinks Grandpa's a nice guy needs to rewatch this show. He gets
a funny guy. There's a difference.
He's a funny guy, but he's got people he kills and buries in the backyard.
Yeah.
He's not a good person. Al Lewis is just very likable.
So, I mean,
all right. I don't want to get too much into this. It's just people forget that even though Al Lewis is likable, Grandpa is terrible.
Yeah. I'm curious to see some of his other works, Al Lewis's works as the vampire after this, because he
I want to watch that. Was it My Grandpa's a Vampire?
Yeah, I want to see that one. Maybe we could watch it for this and just say it.
Yeah, why not?
They did.
It's adjacent.
We'll see. If you guys want us to do that, let us know. If not, let us know. Otherwise, we might just do it anyway.
So we got people in the windows next, or Herman's walking. That was a cool visual, by the way, because you just see him walk by. And
before this, Grandpa flies up and they just start shooting at him.
Yeah, they're trying to shoot the bats.
Like, the bat, he lands on the barrel of one of their guns, and the guy just, instead of moving the gun to get the bat off, like a smart bird, he's like, shoot it off. Shoot my gun in my hand right now to get the bat off.
It's a brilliant plan.
And then, like, once Grandpa flies off Lemoore, they just start shooting at him like hard. No way they had that many bullets, because they shot a lot.
Well, magic TV guns. But yeah, so there's people in the window that are pouring themselves a drink. See Herman walk past, and they pour their drinks out. There's people on the street looking up at Herman walking down like mind freak.
Yeah.
And again, like I was saying, when the people were shooting down at Herman, there's people on this road. What are you doing? You're stupid. And it turns out these bookies are part of the mob as well.
Yeah.
We find that out at the very end. How dumb. So when Herman reaches the ground, though, he takes a look at the crowd of people who gathered to watch him walk down this building. They take off running in fear. They scatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get a cut back to the house where Grandpa's bragging about helping bust the bookies as he's got the newspaper looking at it. And Herman said, yeah, it's a shame Lou got captured as well.
She makes a hell of a milkshake.
Yeah. Yeah. She makes great hot fudge sundaes.
Oh, hot fudge sundaes. Yeah.
And Eddie's like, you didn't get my winnings. And Herman's like, well, that's what happens when you gamble, kid. And Herman's like, or Marilyn's like, Herman, you're the best father figure. Eddie looks sad and Herman looks proud. And that's how we end the episode.
So overall, what did you think? Like, so you say you side with Grandpa on this, Mather?
I did think Herman blew it out of proportion.
You think so?
Yeah. There was a much easier, simpler way to just deal with it that didn't involve going to illegal horse races.
Okay. I wish you were my parents too. Like, for instance, this is one thing I can say. When I was in elementary school, I took the teacher's book to print the worksheets out on. And when I would photocopy the worksheets for the class, I would flip to the back of the book and
photocopy the answers.
And then I would sell the answers to the kids.
That's just being an entrepreneur.
Exactly. That's what I said. I told him, I was like, I was just being a businessman. But I got caught.
All businessmen cheat.
Well, one of the kids who did it was also the nephew to the president of Board of Education.
Mm-hmm.
And he was at their house and he saw the sheet and he's like, what's this? Wheeled on me super fast. I mean, he's a good guy. Like we're still I still know the whole family. My brother's literally married to their family. So I can't complain too much. Yeah. But my parents ended up taking away my driving privileges. Like I wasn't allowed to get my driver's license at all until, of course I moved out of the house.
And you know what? You were just big business in training. Cause I mean, look at all the top billionaires. They just got rich selling other people's stuff. So
I wasn't selling other people's stuff. I was selling answers.
You were selling the teacher's answers.
They're not the teacher's answers. Hopefully they're the students' answers too.
I mean, if you're actually learning, they'll be your answers, but
I feel like that storyline would have been something in the Munsters episode, by the way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that actually did happen. It really did. I was like in like 4th or 5th grade or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just made money.
Take advantage of what you got.
They didn't take my money away though.
Did you tell them how much you made?
Nope. They didn't.
Yeah, well, that's why they didn't take it away.
Anyways, this episode, I enjoyed this episode. Minus like I still enjoyed the part with the bat and Grandpa has the bat, but it was just so confusing as to how he knew anything. Like,
yeah,
you just have to assume it was like his, magic globe that showed him where Herman was.
Magic globe,
or whatever.
Crystal ball,
magic globe.
I like that term better, magic globe.
And then you also have to assume that Grandpa just had a gravity pill laying around.
Yeah.
Pill. Because that couldn't have been what he was making.
No, it's so situational.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this one as well. It was crazy and off the wall and really irritatingly creepy at parts, but it was a fun story. And I loved the thought of who was in the right here, Herman or Grandpa? Because the reveal with Grandpa, I did not see coming. I really didn't.
I would like to know what some of the viewers out there, if you've watched this episode and or just from hearing the points of the show here, like, what do you think? Is Grandpa in the right or is Herman in the right for being like, oh no, we're going to gamble your money away to teach you a lesson, boy. Like, yeah. Anyways, do you want to move on to the next one now?
Well, that's a little bit of trivia here.
Oh yeah, trivia, duh. My bad.
So at the end there, Marilyn compares Herman to Lorne Greene.
Mm-hmm.
Greene became popular on the 1959 show Bonanza, where he played Ben Cartwright for 14 years. In 2007, a TV Guide survey, the people who took it listed him as their number 2 favorite television dad. So that's interesting. I would love to know who the number 1 is.
Cosby.
In 2007, there's a good chance. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't come out yet. What happened there? If you look, I already said that. The hand and the pole. So yeah, I guess that's the only trivia I got that we haven't said yet.
Okay.
All right, on to episode 2, Just Another Pretty Face, an episode that I have been looking forward to since you mentioned it way back when last fall. Season 2, episode 17. Don't know if I said it yet. January 13th, 1966, written by Richard Bayer, who has not been around for quite some time, but it's a name we are familiar with. And Norm Liebman, Ed Haas involved again. Producers, they're also in the writing room. Gene Reynolds directed this one. First episode for Gene. It's shocking we're halfway through season 2, it's still getting new directors.
Yeah.
this is the only episode that Gene directed. Other works that Gene has done is 12 episodes of MASH, and various episodes of Leave It to Beaver, the Andy Griffith Show. My mouth is failing me. My Three Sons, Hogan's Heroes, and Touched by an Angel. I'm sorry, and he directed MASH. He wrote 12 episodes of MASH as well. And he acted in a lot of things, including I Love Lucy. So this is a director that has done quite a list of accomplishments in his career. Only one guest this week, but oh boy, was it a guest. Dom DeLuise as Dr. Dudley.
Yeah.
Prominent roles include Mr. Evictus in The Roman Holiday, 1972, Stanley Belmont in the 73 to 74 show Lots of Luck, Tiger in Five L's Adventure in the West, 1992.
In both American Tail movies, he was Tiger.
Yeah. Vinny Piat in Burke's Law, 94 to 95. Itchy Itchford in All Dogs Go to Heaven and everything that has followed with All Dogs. And his list of voice work include Ren and Stimpy, Cow and Chicken, Dexter's Lab. Yep. He was Pizza the Hut and Spaceballs. Like, this guy has been in so much from my our childhood. It's incredible that he is in this. Like, not every time
recognizable in this either.
No. And as a returning character, Dr. Dudley, he's a second incarnation of the character as well.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah. As soon as I saw him and heard them talking and stuff, I was like, dude, this is like my child. Because like he was in, like you said, All Dogs Go to Heaven, American Tail films, stuff like that. He was even like in the Baby Geniuses movie. He played like one of the helpers in the daycare and stuff. Yep. I like that first movie, by the way, if people don't know. But yeah, like he's like a big staple of my childhood. Like he wasn't like a lead, but he was always there, you know. And especially in voice acting, you knew that voice when you were watching. Especially American Tail. I love those movies. Five Goes West is probably the best one.
Oh, they're so good.
So, yeah. Anything else, man?
Nope. Ready for the synopsis. He was the only guest.
Synopsis is Just Another Pretty Face. January 13th, 1966. As Tivis previously stated, a lightning bolt from one of Grandpa's experiments strikes Herman in the head, disfiguring him so severely that he ends up reassembling as a normal person.
It's a very revealing synopsis. That's more revealing than the one I had on the iTunes.
If they're listening, hopefully they've watched it already, Tivis.
I know. I'm just saying, I wouldn't put that as the one on iTunes was like Grandpa's working on a secret project and Herman is too curious for his own good.
That's kind of boring.
Yeah, but it doesn't reveal anything.
I guess.
So we open with Lily banging on a gong to tell everyone it's dinner time. This is a new development.
A little gong, and it makes so much noise.
It sounds like a full-sized one. Herman wonders where Grandpa is, and Marilyn and Eddie are like, he's down in the lab working on a secret project. So he goes over to the trap door and yells down, it's dinner time. In the lab, I have subtitles on while I watch this, and it literally says Grandpa's laughing fiendishly.
Grandpa was like freaking scarier.
Oh yeah, this is a real great episode. You
could tell he was friends with Dr. Frankenstein.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say one of my trivia facts now. Universal got Ken Strickford, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, to come out of retirement. He has done other works that people may have seen, like Young Frankenstein or the original Frankenstein pictures, where he was in charge of the lightning effects. So they got the guy that did the actual Frankenstein stuff to do this set and this effects. And it looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty dope to see how it was done in this just for TV, you know?
Yeah.
When you're looking at like, you go back and watch the old Frankenstein, the first Frankenstein film and stuff like that. It's like, dude, this is like almost the same.
And that's because it was.
Yeah, it was. But we already know too, a lot of the props in Grandpa's lab were from the Frankenstein films. And then I'm assuming even more props came in this.
As they went.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's, especially in this specific episode, there are so many more like light props and stuff like that. So again, but the guy might have brought them in too that did the effects. So
yeah. So you hear Herman here. What's that?
What was his name again? The guy who did the effects. So we can
Ken Strickfeden. I'm gonna send it in chat so you can give it a try. Okay. I'm terrible with names.
I'm going to say Ken Strickfeden.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Yeah. It honestly, if someone was into my friend in New York, he's into Frankenstein, never watched an episode of Munsters. This would be the episode that I would show him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, Grandpa's laughing fiendishly. You hear Herman yell again that it's dinner time, and Grandpa's start without me. My new invention is going to achieve world peace. And I'm not reassured by this statement because Grandpa always has ulterior motives.
Do you remember just a few episodes ago, Grandpa was like trying to conquer the world? And now
by rigging elections. Yeah, no, I'm wondering what his ultimatum is going to be.
The election one wasn't where he was trying to conquer the world. He was trying to conquer the world with the weather machine that he was doing.
That's right. Yes. I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
He went from trying to get rich schemes to conquering the world this season.
Yeah.
So he's got hobbies. So, Lily yells down, it's broiled shark with tossed centipede salad. And Grandpa's, you know what? The world has waited this long. It can wait a little bit longer, and shuts everything off and goes upstairs. And we get this cool shot of Al walking up out of I love whenever they do this. Because, you always think, it's just a hole in the ground, but they actually have stairs built in for them to walk up. And it's such a neat shot every time. I never get tired of it. So Grandpa comes up and Herman begins heckling him. Hey, Grandpa's like, yeah. All right. Yeah. He closes the trap door, slams this lock on it.
Yeah.
Puts a padlock on, and he's holding 3 signs. He drops one. He's staring at Herman. The sign says positively. He drops the other one into the floor. It says no admittance. It's like, all right, let's go eat. And Herman's like, wait. What about that 3rd sign? And Krabs like, I'm glad you asked. He drops it and it says, Herman, this means you. Herman asks if it's a hint to what Grandpa's doing. And Grandpa's like, no, it's an order. And he says it so kindly too.
Yeah.
Al really gets to shine this episode.
And this was like the quickest, I feel this was the quickest intro before our title card hits.
It's definitely one of them. I want to say there was one in season 1 that was like 3 minutes, if that.
Well, this wasn't even like, this was like 3 minutes after the credits had gone, the opening intro.
Oh, we're getting to the credits right now.
Yeah. I'm saying after the intro was over with, was at like 3 minutes. I looked at it on the timer.
Maybe it's definitely in contention. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
So later that night, Oh, you got something?
Nope.
All right. Herman's sneaking around the house, saying it's his job as the head of house to find out what his sneaky father-in-law is up to. He rips the latch off the floor, causing a giant loud bang, and opens the creaky trap door. And I'm like, he's going to get caught. No, he managed to get down to the lab, and he's like snickering at all the equipment as he begins turning it all on and hitting random buttons. We get this shot of Grandpa's room, which we've only seen a couple times now. It's a giant bell above his head that goes off. Grandpa sits up and yells, "Herman, get your hands off my machine," before rushing out the door. Herman's downstairs having time of his life, hitting buttons, laughing. Sparks are coming off the equipment as he's wrecking everything.
It reminds me of childhood.
He didn't. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun.
Yeah. Grandpa comes down.
Grandpa comes down. He's like, "Herman, what are you doing?" And Herman stands up, and Grandpa's like, "No, stop, don't move." Herman like takes a step back, and it's too late. Herman gets zapped in the head with lightning and falls over. And then Grandpa carries him up to the living room off screen. Grandpa's really strong, apparently, because we know Herman weighs a ton.
Use magic. Cover them up.
Oh, he could have. Yeah, that's true. He's got Herman covered in a sheet.
Could have helped him.
Yeah. We never know if he's around or not. So he's got Herman covered in a sheet as the family comes rushing in to find out what the loud noise was. He's like, at this point, the title was a clue, but I'm like, I know exactly that this is the episode I've been waiting for, and I'm so excited. Grandpa's like, no, he's
episode before.
What's that?
Had you ever seen this episode before?
No.
Okay.
No, and it's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah.
Grandpa's like, no, don't worry. He's only unconscious. And he got a slight shock from some electricity. Lily rushes up to remove the sheet. And Grandpa's like, wait, I need to prepare you emotionally. Lily's like, is he disfigured? Grandpa's like, yes. So he's like, no matter how gruesome he looks, he's still our Herman. And he lifts the sheet off to reveal Fred.
Yeah. Fred went without any makeup. So
Eddie shouts in horror, and Lily's like, you need to calm down, kid. At this point, Herman starts coming around. And he's like, what happened?
I know it would have been hard to do, but it would have been really cool if this was the first time that Butch saw Fred without the makeup on. And that would have been a really cool reveal. But I know that didn't happen, but
yeah, they met.
Yeah.
Herman comes around and he's like, well, what happened? Why am I on the couch? Crap was like, you got hit by lightning. Oh, I don't remember any of this. He was like, that's what you get for messing with my machine. Lily asks how Herman is, and he's like, oh, I feel fine. I feel perfectly fine. He sits up and stands up. He's noticing his clothes aren't fitting properly. The heat of the lightning must have expanded them. He notices the family is staring at him. He's like, why are y'all looking at me? So, what's going on? Why is everyone looking at me? And Grandpa just gets blunt with him. And the answer you're looking for is in the mirror. So Herman goes over. He's smirking at this ridiculous statement, and he looks. He screams. Oh my God, do I feel bad for Herman this episode? He does not take what happens to him well. He is horrified. He's like, you put a mask on me and tries to rip his own face off.
And then he's like, splash some water in my face. Maybe it'll wash away.
Yeah. Lily gets him a drink and he hands it to Grace. Like, hit me with some water. And Grandpa's like, all right.
Alan hits him in the face so hard that he gets soaked with the water too on his face. Like, damn, dude. So I was like watching. I was like, are they going to wipe the water off? Nope. They just kept going.
Yeah. Herman distressed. The man is still there taunting me. He's like, I'm not going to be able to live like this. Oh, and it's so weird watching Fred do Herman's facial features without the makeup. Like it's off.
It's
like
actually really cool. Like I actually liked that part of this episode. It's actually one of my notes. I love that we get to see his actual facial reactions as Fred, because then we can understand how, like, what he's doing under the makeup to make the maneuvers and the movements and the facial reactions.
Oh, it's so weird. And this is partly why I wanted to bring up the Jeff at the beginning, his look at the beginning of this episode this is Fred Gwynn, the guy who plays Herman, doing Herman's mannerisms, and it looks so off. So it's not difficult for the slightest change to feel strange with these characters. And this is such a fascinating. If you guys didn't watch this is one I highly, highly recommend going back and actually watching just to see Fred be Herman as himself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it would be a good one for people who are weary on the new movie, or if they haven't seen any of the movies or any other adaptations of the characters, to watch this, because then you are seeing, like you said, you get to see the actor not in the makeup trying to be the character. So you're seeing basically a whole nother character almost. Like it's still Herman, but it's still like you said,
just slightly off.
Yeah, just a little bit. But I still really enjoyed being able to see that, because I was able to see, what does Fred do when he's like does his little weird high smirk thing and stuff. Like, what is he doing with his actual face that gets that reaction with the makeup and all that? Because he wears the prosthetics and the makeup and the shadowing, the contour, as they call it in makeup world, or women world too, or anybody world, I guess, because everyone wears makeup nowadays. So yeah, I
don't. I go out with my horrible complexion as is.
The beard creates a contour on you sometimes. So
yeah, it's the hair that's bothering me. This is an interesting one. So we got a new scene where Herman is wearing a new set of clothes. It's a nice suit, and Grandpa's like, that isn't bad at all.
He finally looks like he works at a funeral parlor, though.
Yeah, and Herman, who is unhappy to be so fancy, Lily actually says this. She's like, I found the most conservative outfit in order for you to go to work. And Herman's, I'm not going to work with this face. It's like, they're going to react horribly, like all of you are.
Yeah. With what did he say? Being cold is what.
Yeah. The cold reactions.
Yeah. And
oh my God, Herman makes me feel so bad for him.
Screw Eddie, bro. In this episode, he's such.
Yeah, we're about to get to that.
I know. I can't even. Like, I watched it and I was like, he's a jerk, man. Like, if my kid,
he's a Dracula.
He is his grandpa's grandchild.
Yep. Grandpa always says how proud he is of his spoiled little grandson. I almost said something else. Lily's look, this is just an adjustment, a period for all. Lily is trying this episode, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it reminds me of the many people who get into like accidents and actually, disfigure their face and they get plastic surgery, and it's not quite the same, even if it's pretty similar. And, even if other people don't notice the changes, they do. And there's, they deal with it. It's a really psychological problem for many people. And this episode kind of touches upon that, even if it didn't mean to.
It slightly touches on this, but at the same time, the entire family is also like,
unhelpful. Yes.
Yeah. They're not helpful at all. It's like, it's kind of like almost like a burn victim.
Yes. Yeah.
And and there have been relationships that have split because, one person couldn't handle the tragedy that happened to their spouse because of a burn victim stuff. And you kind of see that being touched on a little bit more here in this episode than like, I can't cope with how I look. I can't cope with how I look, but you guys aren't helping me either.
Yeah. Lily is struggling. She's trying, but she's struggling.
Yeah.
Because, now her husband's as ugly as her niece.
Even worse, because later Marilyn says some shit. I'm like, dude, what?
You know what? Herman has been mean to her. It is her time for revenge.
This whole episode, though, goes against like the speech that we play at the end of every podcast. And
yes,
the whole episode reminds me of when Eddie had, I guess when the speech was made, when Eddie had the facial hair and stuff. Herman was just like, oh, well, I guess you have to deal with how you look, son. It doesn't matter. You can be black, green, white, yellow, all those other colors that he says. And so this is another example of the Munsters say things but don't necessarily live by it all the time, which I think could also be a good thing to look at in reality, because lots of people say lots of things. Doesn't mean they live by everything they say. Like, true. It's just human nature, I think, which humanizes the Munsters even more, I feel.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Head talk.
Yeah. Shall we get into the Eddie?
Yeah, let's dive into this little jerk. Here, you called him Grandpa's spoiled little bat.
Grandson.
That.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, he's a wolf, though.
I'm not even.
So Eddie comes busting in and says, hi, Mom. Hi, Grandpa. And then, hello, sir. No, he refuses to look at Herman. And Herman
not him at all.
Yeah. Herman's so hurt. Oh my God. Do I feel bad for Herman this episode? He's sir. And he's like, Grandpa, you want to come play catch with me? Grandpa's like, yeah, all right. So they head out, and Herman's like, Edward, why didn't you ask your father to play? And Eddie's, my father isn't here.
Yeah, I popped in my seat when I heard that. I was like, did he? What?
The look of shock, anger, and hurt on Fred's face. Such a good actor.
And Lily's ass should have said something.
She should have, but she tries to smooth it over. Like, he doesn't want you ruining your new suit. And Eddie's like, or your new face. Kid.
Nah, my wife would have yelled at that kid.
Herman, how considerate. How coldly considerate. Oh, just Fred. Just phenomenal actor. Oh my God. Yeah. Lily, she's like, hey, wait a minute. Why don't we call Dr. Dudley? Maybe he gets you plastic surgery. Herman's like, oh my God, that's a great idea. And she's like, I could kiss you. In fact, I will. He goes to kiss her and she like turns her head away. And this only upsets him further. She's like, look, I'm still getting used to it. I'm sorry. He's like, oh, you're sorry. I'm sorry that you feel so strange with your own husband. Maybe I'll go stay in the guest room. And then he steals the blanket and her pillow, I might add, because she sleeps on that side of the bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, maybe one day we could find a mutual friend to introduce us, and then storms off out of the door. And poor Lily, she feels horrible for her own reaction, as well as the whole situation of the whole. And she begins, she breaks down.
She should feel bad.
Yeah. So at breakfast the next day, Eddie asks, is Dad back from surgery yet? And Marilyn says, Dudley's just the general practitioner. He has to refer Uncle Herman to a plastic surgeon. And Grandpa begins laughing because Herman wore a disguise to not get stared at in public. And he's like, oh, I bet people will be gawking anyhow.
Well, this is also right before. Did you say what Marilyn said or no?
About Dudley only being a general practitioner?
No, about Herman. She starts ridiculing Herman's looks too.
No, I didn't put that down.
You think that she wouldn't do that, being the person who has been ridiculed all these times, these years? I feel that realistically, a person who's been in that position before would actually try and be on. Honestly, she should have been with Herman more in this episode than anybody else, being like trying to reassure, and it's okay. I've been trying to be the consolee or
sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes people are just vindictive, and when someone's a jerk to you and falls on hard times, you have no problem pointing out that they're a jerk anyway. Why should I feel bad?
Well, that's because Marilyn is a what did we decide she was? A
siren.
Is that what they're called?
I don't remember. Harpy.
No, I don't remember.
Decent person.
Sure.
She's probably the more decent than anyone else in this family. Let's be honest. Yeah. So now we get to Dr. Dudley's office, and we get to meet the new Dudley. Herman's disguise is he wrapped his face in bandages. The doctor goes, can you describe the accident? Herman begins mumbling and pointing with his fingers, and Dr. Dudley goes, I hate when that happens. Lily's like, lightning struck him in the head. The doctor begins laughing at this, and then he's like, oh, that's terrible.
Succubus is what it was called.
Succubus. Thank you. That's a form of vampire, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Is it?
I believe they're related, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like an adaptation, by the way, of her actually being a succubus, because she feeds off the sexual energy of men. So, yeah.
So Lily then says that they should probably remove the bandages.
Yeah.
And get a proper look. And the doctor's like, I agree. So I got to tell you, at this point with Dr. Dudley's performance, instead of the bumbling fool we met last time, this version seems a little evil.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but he just comes across as evil. So he then tells a joke about his mother and begins removing the bandages from Herman's face. Mm-hmm. Herman hides his face with his hat. It's like, no, you need to show me. And Herman's like, you need to promise not to laugh first. And the doctor's like,
one thing I'm glad that they did was they reiterated the fact that we've seen the doctor before. Like, they gave him the same name. Yeah. But being like a different season and stuff, it's been so long since you've seen Dr. Dudley, like to make people reassured that Herman has seen this doctor before. I like that they added that into the story too. Like, oh, I've seen your face is,
Yeah. Don't laugh. He's like, I've never laughed at it before. It's made me sick from time to time, but I've never laughed.
Yeah.
And Lily tells Herman, just do it.
Do it.
So the doctor takes one look at Fred's face and instantly falls in love.
Mm-hmm.
He tells Herman it's a vast improvement. And Lily's like, what about the surgery? She hands him a picture of Herman's old face. He's like, can you restore it? He laughs. You want to do this on purpose? He's like, no, I'm sorry. Request denied. Which,
yeah, there's like no plastic surgeon would ever touch this.
Like, there's a fantastic, I brought this show up before, and I'm sorry for going a little off topic, but there's a fantastic episode of Scrubs, which is like my all-time favorite sitcom because of how like heartfelt many of the stories in it is. There's a patient. Scrubs is about a medical hospital with a bunch of people who start out as trainees and become full-fledged doctors. And, there's a patient who had a accident, like I mentioned earlier, and, one of those type of things where she had to have facial reconstruction. She wants to have surgery to get her old face back. And all the doctors and nurses or stuff, but it's like, you look so much better now. I would, you just give it time. And there's a shrink. I forget the technical name, but she sits there and it's like, I know how hard it is to have change. I'm going to talk to them about trying to get your face, get you into that surgery. And it's like, sometimes, people just want what they're used to. And it's not right that Dudley's like, oh, you were hideous. You're better off now.
Yeah.
So that really upset me with Dudley. It's like,
well, it is Dr. Dudley. So
yeah, I know. It's just,
does it actually upset you, or is it more so just,
yeah, it did not, it doesn't sit right with me. Even
I think
like retelling it.
He just wouldn't,
Yeah, I know.
It's for his character. I don't think it's that much different.
You shouldn't tell people, what they think of themselves, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to get at with this. It just didn't sit right with me.
Cut it out.
You're not going to cut it out. It's the middle of the episode. I know you. So back at home, Herman is extremely mad. And Lily's like, look, we'll go get a second opinion. Grandpa comes shouting at them with Herman's original blueprint. It was a gift from Dr. Frankenstein to Count Dracula. Herman is confused how this will help him. And Grandpa says, I can restore you with these.
Go on.
Well, Lily's like, no, let's not do this. And Herman's like, yes, we're doing this.
So I'm curious, it might be in your trivia too. Were these actual blueprints from a previous Frankenstein movie?
Not that I was able to tell.
Okay. They look pretty legit. I'm curious how much money they actually put into this show, because a lot of stuff looks really good and legit.
Oh, this episode had to be most of their budget for the season. Like,
we'll find out next episode if it sucks or not.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. But Grandpa's like, give me 5 to 6 hours to get ready. So the family is waiting impatiently outside the trap door. Eddie's like, look, let's just go down. And Lily's like, no, it's smarter and safer if we wait up here. Cut to the lab where Grandpa is trying to decipher the blueprints as Herman asks what's the holdup. He's pretty uncomfortable. And Grandpa Herman's like, do the blueprints say I have to be comfortable? And Grandpa's like, the blueprints say a lot of things. That's confidence right there. Herman tells him to take his time and look them over. And Grandpa's like, what are you, chicken? And Herman then gets terrified that he's going to be turned into a chicken. And Grandpa's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
He's like, here, sign this release form. Puts a pen in Herman's mouth because Herman is strapped to the table. And then Herman then Grandpa then tells the cat just entered the room. Grandpa tells Herman, good luck. Like, that's what you want to hear from the person about to perform surgery on you, basically.
Dude, Grandpa in this entire sequence is freaking mad. It's awesome. I love Al Lewis's performance right here, dude.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
So then he goes over to the blueprint, he covers Herman with the sheet and then goes over to the blueprints. He gets looking at them puzzled again. Well, here we go. Starts hitting buttons and laughing fiendishly again. I know because of the subtitles. He begins lifting Herman into the air, and I'm like, he shouts, bye-bye, and laughs menacingly. Is he about to kill Herman?
I mean, he probably wants the house back.
He's like, this is just like your first haircut. As Herman gets hit with electricity, Grandpa turns his machine off, lowers Herman, lifts the sheet up. Close enough.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Grandpa goes upstairs after this, and they're like, well, did it work? And he's like, yes and no.
Yeah, kinda.
And then Herman walks up, and he's got these like curly locks on his head, and he starts walking up more, and then you realize, oh, he's got boobs and everything.
Yep, Herman's now a woman. And Grandpa goes, well, at least you have your old face back. And Lily faints as Herman looks angrily at Grandpa. He's like, So at dinner, Eddie asks if Dad is having supper with them, and Lily says, no, she has a new job as a cocktail waitress.
No,
Grandpa's.
She says he has a new job.
I know what he said. I'm changing the script.
Oh, no, because it's important though. It's important because Lily says he, Grandpa says she, and then Marilyn says Aunt Herman.
Yes.
Only Lily. Lily is the only one not acknowledging that Herman is a female now. And it's you have to keep that in. You can't just change the script up. You got to keep that because
this is my script. So
it's important. It's important, man.
Grandpa says Eureka, and Lily sounds really annoyed. She's like, what? He's like, I found out where I slipped up. Herman enters, and Marilyn says, morning, Aunt Herman. Yeah. And Herman asks how she looks. Grandpa jokingly whistles.
Grandpa goes really creepy again.
I think he's messing with Herman. I hope so. Lily says that, she looks lovely. And Grandpa says that she should be happy, with that face back at least. Herman says, I'm greedy. I want my old face and my old body.
Herman is actually big enough, though. They could have put Grandma's clothes on him.
They could have. He was wearing the girdle.
He came up in this entire female outfit.
He did. And we'll get into that in a bit.
I also really want to remind everyone and point out when he got transformed into human form, like normal person, I guess, a normie.
He kept his clothes.
So, and then I'll let you do the other one when we get to it.
Yeah. I know that's something I want to talk about. Greedy. Herman then blows a kiss to Lily and starts to head out. Lily advises Herman not to let the customers get fresh, as you're now in a woman's world and men are pigs.
And Grandpa starts kissing at him.
Yeah. Before Herman leaves, Grandpa jokingly blows a kiss and smirks. Like, this is why I think he's fucking with Herman.
Grandpa is always trying to get Lily and Herman fighting, and then he changes Herman into a female. I think Grandpa wants to be with Herman.
And Grandpa just likes to get under Herman's skin no matter what.
We already know he has a giant fetish, so
Herman like scowls and heads off. Yeah. And he says he forgot to ask his new mom what she plans to do about next Monday at school. And Lily's like, what's next Monday? And he says, Father's Day. Grandpa bursts out laughing. Isn't Father's Day always on a Sunday?
Father's Day is usually in the summertime.
Yeah, isn't it? It's this coming Sunday.
Yeah, but
isn't it always on a Sunday though?
I don't know if it's always on a Sunday. I don't remember that.
That's true. Yeah, it's always in summer break too. What the heck?
In summertime.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, wait, what? Like Father's Day for the school.
Maybe, yeah. Lily just sighs at this.
Wait, Father's Day is this Sunday?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
A day I don't get to myself.
As Herman exits the house, she sees that it's raining. So she starts complaining that it's going to ruin her hair. Pulls out this thing. I don't know what it is to protect her head. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it's called?
Like a bonnet, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And begins to head off as lightning strikes her in the head.
You don't have to call Herman her. He's not identifying as a female. He just has the body parts of a female. Just going to say that.
It's a her.
It's a her. Now they are an it. Is what you're saying?
No, I'm. Okay. Why'd you have to do this?
I'm just messing with you. Because
now I have to clarify. People can identify however they want. And you have a problem with that? Just tell them you want to be a woman. You can be a woman. There you go. Happy.
But he's not identifying as what
I don't care. He doesn't identify as anything in this, so I'm putting it in the script. It's just like with Jonathan.
I'm gonna drive Tivis crazy today. We have a whole nother show to record too.
Yes, we do.
Our other podcast. All right, go on.
Anyway,
gets hit by lightning. Sorry, she gets hit by lightning.
Herman becomes a guy again, and his clothes change back.
Yeah.
He then screams about being back and calls the family out. They cheer, and it closes. He is certainly losing that cocktail waitress job.
Because of the cock?
Oh my God, what is happening today? We didn't even have technical problems like last week. I hope people are enjoying this.
I love you guys. Love you all. They're just jokes. Come on now. But yeah, no, so the show just ends right there.
How did his clothes change?
I don't know. They only changed too when he turned into a woman and turned back into a man. They never changed. Well,
we don't know if they even changed when he became a woman because we never see it. He just comes up in them.
It's true. Grandpa might have just had some clothes.
Yeah, maybe he had some of Grandma's clothes down there.
Yeah.
I don't understand how this works, but yeah, this episode went from really fun to really annoying in the discussion part. Yeah. You're staring at me, but this is your fault.
I'm just thinking because it's kind of like it's not even like the Glenn and Glenda story or anything like that. So, but he went from her man to her woman back to her man.
I don't even care anymore. I'm so annoyed with you. So thoughts before I do trivia?
I mean, Grandpa found a great way to do a sex change operation. It doesn't even cost a dime.
Does it only work for Herman though?
Ooh, maybe Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie. I forgot about Charlie.
Yeah.
Everyone always forgets about Charlie. I don't even Charlie's the only family member not in the new movie
that we know of.
Yeah, that we know
of. So thoughts on this episode? I enjoyed this episode. Like I've said, I've seen this one before. That's why I remember a lot more of it. Like when it started. It's always been one of those episodes where I've always just contemplated, like, because everyone always talks about the big speech, of course. Herman, it doesn't matter what you look like. And then Herman gets turned into a human, a normie or whatever you want to call him. And then he's like, oh, no, I hate this. And they don't even like redeem it by like a big speech at the end or anything like that. It's just, nope, I don't like the way I look now. Like this change is not for me type thing. No, I don't know. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed both episodes that we watched today.
Yeah, this was a pretty good week. I was looking forward to this one and it did not disappoint. Like, again, between all of the cool visuals, like Fred's performance without the makeup, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So some little trivia I got. Yeah, I know. Tesla coils are very prominent in Grandpa's lab this episode because, they at this point in time, they had already become an iconic prop for mad scientists. So they had them everywhere.
Yeah.
They also had those orbs with the lightning. I forget what they're called.
Oh, the plates. I mean, the plates are
the sphere. That's not a Tesla, right? That's
the Tesla coil is like the long thing with the ball on it inside of a glass tube.
Oh, okay. That is a Tesla coil. All right.
Yeah. That's the Tesla coil.
All right. When I think of Tesla coil, I think of the thing that generates lightning that people hold a metal rod to and catch lightning.
I think that is too. I don't know.
Are they both Tesla? All right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's just a miniature version of that with a protective glass covering.
Yeah. I know in the game Red Alert, you use Tesla coils to kill people. They become giant weapons.
In Fortnite, they use it to create portals. Yeah, I play Fortnite. Get over it.
How old are you again?
I'm 31.
13?
I can enjoy a lot of stuff. I just, shut up. Also, every time the female version of Herman is on screen, parts of A Pretty Girl Is Like a Melody plays in the background.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
Okay.
This was written by Irving Berlin, if anyone is curious and wants to look it up.
What are you doing? Tivis went silent.
Sorry, my wife texted me. I thought you were going to pick up anyway.
You just stopped in the middle of a thing you were saying, so I didn't have anything.
No, I was fish. If anyone was curious about looking it up, that's what it's called.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other trivia or anything for this episode, dude?
Just that, Edward Dudley was originally played by Paul Lind, and that I already said this one. The Universal got the original Frankenstein special effects lightning guy to come back,
which is pretty awesome. I like that.
Yes, it was amazing visually.
Why can't they do their monster stuff like they used to do back in the day with the Munsters? Man, I'm really hoping that Rob Zombie's thing like picks up and like get some steam for the Munsters really good and get some.
Yeah. Oh, it would be great to have like a comeback of the show, especially to have a lot of the hard to find stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus it'll give us more stuff to watch if they start making more content. So, with that said, what was your final thoughts on the episode? Did you then give your thoughts on this episode?
Oh, I did. I said I enjoyed it. It was one I was looking forward to, and it didn't disappoint.
Good.
Again, like this, I'm really going to try to get my friend in New York to watch this because he doesn't. There's a game he likes to play of, have I seen it? And 99% of the time it's no. And it's so frustrating. He's never seen Jurassic Park.
Okay.
How can you not watch Jurassic Park?
I would just, if he's a big Frankenstein fan, get him to watch this, man. At least this specific episode, I think.
Oh, I'm going to try. Yeah.
This episode might also be his gateway into the Munsters more. So, yeah.
He's not opposed to old stuff. He just literally has missed majority of all iconic television and movies. He's never seen Ghostbusters.
There's a lot of people out there, though, that have. They just don't pay attention or care, or they have a real life.
He's seen The Room, though.
Okay. Yeah.
It's frustrating to talk to him.
This guy that is talking to me
today.
All right.
I apologize to the listeners for my outburst. I just had to clarify because Myke made it questionable.
Made what question? I wasn't questioning you. I was just saying. Anyways, what do we got going for next week?
Next week is Big Heap Herman and the most beautiful goal in the world. I hope that means it's a Lily-centric episode because she has not had a lot this season.
Okay. I read the synopsis already, so I kind of know.
Okay. Is it Lily or is it Merlin?
Oh, no. The synopsis is hard to tell because it's kind of like both. Lily, Marilyn, and Herman and Grandpa each have their own storylines, it seems, going on.
Oh, all right.
In that episode. So, all right, guys. Well, with that said, Tivis, last words.
Send all angry emails to Myke.
I didn't do anything wrong, man.
I'm begging you to send angry emails to Myke. No, honestly,
I control this show. I can say what I want.
I would love to hear again with that first episode how people sided either with Herman's
ideology.
Yeah, him going to the measures that he did to teach Eddie the lesson, or Grandpa thinking that Herman went too far with his lesson. I'm really curious.
I do want to say, though, Grandpa should not have undermined Herman's authority as the father.
No, he shouldn't have got involved.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that said, guys, if you do want to email us, you can email us at themunstercast@outlook.com.
Yep. And make sure to watch this last one if you hadn't already. Like, it is, I would put it on the must watch list for this show.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, with that said, thank you very much. And we will catch you next time as we take another stroll down 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
The lesson I want you to learn is it doesn't matter what you look like. You can be tall or short, or fat or thin, or ugly